Sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's green where you water it, and we water the grass here.
Tell us what it was like being at the dunk last night.
That was the most chaotic environment I've ever been in my life.
Friartown is Titletown tonight.
Here's Pip, guarded by Gillespie. Steps back, spins, fires! Woo! Pip gets!
Who run shit like me? Top 5 basically. I still play for keeps, ain't no fantasy, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 26 now of Divine Providence. We're in full swing of the off season. This is definitely, the dead period, but things are ramping up. We're seeing the workout videos. So, starting to get the goosies, not full goosies yet, but gentlemen, how we feel? We got a full house today, Mac and Eduardo.
Yeah, shout out Eduardo. Graduated, so he is officially the smartest person on this show. And we are officially, like you said, dog days of summer. Like nothing going on right now.
Yeah, Eduardo, how you?
Cutting out, but I'm glad to be back. Can't wait to talk some random stuff until the season starts.
Yeah, we got to fill the void a little bit. Obviously, we want to do a little bit of a check-in. Again, nothing crazy, not a ton of stuff to talk about, as we all know, but there's still stuff going on. Being a PC basketball fan is a 12 out of the year commitment. This program never sleeps, whether it's what's going on Twitter, whether it's what's going on the court, drama on the court, coaching changes, things like that. So last a couple episodes we talked mainly about like burner madness. So a couple things we didn't talk about just kind of came to my mind. We have the Ryan Gomes acquisition. So that's really exciting. Obviously, I grew up watching Ryan. I think these guys might have been a little bit young. And then we have Brian Tibaldi as well, replacing Nate Tomlinson. So any initial thoughts on those two guys?
I love the Ryan Gomes hire. I know you mentioned Ryan Gomes at PC was a little before my time, but obviously I'm familiar with Ryan Gomes, the PC legend,
Right.
Growing up, I was more familiar with Ryan Gomes, the Celtic, but obviously I think it's a great hire. It's a home run hire. You can't miss keeping guys, alumni, keeping them in the program, I think is huge, especially guys with NBA experience. Ryan Gomes, an all-time Friar. And he knows, just like Coach English, knows what it takes to get to the next level. And even just seeing the videos, we've talked about the workout videos that they're posting. Seeing Ryan Gomes being like that vocal guy during practice is awesome. I think it's a home run hire, and I can't wait to see him on the sideline.
Yeah, no, very well said. Obviously, Ryan Gomes, in my opinion, is the closest thing that PC will ever have to like a LeBron James type, like positionless, could do everything on the court, super athletic, very, very just all around great player, great numbers too. I mean, not just a guy like who benefited from maybe being on like a bad team. Like he was on a really good team his junior year. Senior year, they took a little bit of a step back, but they were really good his junior year. So he, awesome Friar. Glad to have him. We got Brian Tibaldi, who is coming over with a ton of experience from where's Tibaldi coming from again?
Cleveland Cavs.
Oh, that's right. The NBA. Yes.
I was getting mixed up. We're in full off-season form. I almost said West Virginia, but that was obviously the trainer who we had come over. So
right.
I got to dust off the cobwebs a little bit.
Yeah, Tibaldi comes highly recommended. Pretty excited about that. As the strength and conditioning coach. So there was a change at strength and conditioning coach, and we can talk about that a little as well. So so moving and shaking with the staff. When last year, we were talking about the team and where we wanted to see the team. All agreed that the staff wasn't perfect. that we wanted to see maybe Kim add some experience. I don't know, how good or bad Nate Tomlinson was, how big of a loss it will be. It could be a good thing that he's, leaving. Could be a bad thing. By all means, seemed like a really cool guy. So, miss him for that reason. But I don't really know. Like, do we know, like, did he run the offense? Because there was some talk of, like, after he left, like, kind of a little almost like blame with Nate being the guy who ran the offense. So
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
I remember during the season. I mean, it was a bit. The offense was clearly a major issue. And I mean, we're not obviously in the practices. We don't know who's running what, whose system is whose. Like, but there were talks. Obviously, Nate Tomlinson was kind of the offensive guy. I don't know, just shake things up, and every hire we've made on the coaching staff this season has been a guy with NBA experience. So you can't knock that. I think it's been clear in the last year or two that Kim English wants to go for a more NBA style of play. So you're bringing in guys that fit that mold. You're not trying to fit a square peg into a circle hole. You're going for what works or what you think works, and buying into that theme.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely have some really experienced coaches on this staff now. Kim, he's in his 5th year, obviously head coach. He's not one of the ones that I would say has a ton of experience, but I'm holding out a little bit of hope for Kim. The team also, the experience on the team, you got to remember, like, a lot of these guys are going to be seniors. Some of them are going to be like, 4th year seniors. Duncan Powell, 5th year guy. Jason Edwards has been, in college for a long time with junior college. So there is a lot of experience all across the board. This is a program that will benefit from that. And last year, although they had a lot of experience on paper, some of the guys just, didn't play. Bryce didn't play. Jaden Pierre was kind of a, big question mark a lot of times. So I think you'll see definitely a difference in just overall presence of mind day in and day out, whether it be in practice, whether it be on the court. So I think that's something to look forward to. I mean, experience isn't always everything, but it's something.
Yeah, I at the beginning of the portal cycle, I kind of jokingly compared the situation last year's Friars team was in to the team going into the 21-22 season. And that, like, I joked about it at first, like, full transparency, but, like, the similarities are there. Like, it's fully documented. I tweeted about it.
Yeah.
The experience on that 21-22 team, I think they had like 6 seniors, and that goes a long way. Like, that's a big reason why that team was able to win so many close games. What was their record? They were like 9-1 in games decided by 5 or less.
Sounds right. Yeah.
So some of the guys you listed, I mean, it's a lot of seniors. You have Jason Edwards, Jalen Sellers, Duncan Powell, Corey Floyd. I feel like I'm missing another one. I think there's 5 seniors on the team. But
Hargrove.
Cole Hargrove, that's the one I'm
Yeah.
missing. But yeah, experience goes a long way, especially in this sport, especially in a conference like the Big East. There's not much breathing room in that schedule. So just experience and power conference experience for the most part too.
Definitely agree. For this team, if you look at like this team, I know it's kind of crazy because it seems like last year, March was so far away, but this team really is built for March. You have that experience, you have athleticism, you have guys that are, are going to be in like really, really good shape, hopefully take you down the stretch into March. And, God willing, into April would be phenomenal. But it's tough. Like when you think about last year's team, you think about like, all right, even if they were to get lucky in the Big East tournament, how do you play 3 games in a row with Oswin, right? Playing like 35 minutes a game and relying on him to do so much. How do you play 3 games in a row or win 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row with having the extra game to play, first night, with like creased, so it's just this year when you look at it, you got Hargrove backing up Oswin, you got Duncan, Powell, who's athletic, Corey Floyd, who's a beast, Ryan Mila. You go down, guys are all well trained athletes physically, and I think the strength and conditioning coach is going to help them get them there. This summer, I know they do their workouts like outside, things like that. So it's been pretty hot and humid. So hopefully they're getting their bodies, ready to rock and roll into April here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, obviously, depth is a big thing. And what sucks about this part of the calendar is everyone's 0-0. Everyone's undefeated right now as it stands. So it's obviously projections. I was on my way home from work the other day, and I was just thinking, like, okay, like let's maybe temper the expectations because last year we were all jacked up about all these transfers coming in, and your West Cardets and whatnot, and then obviously you see how the season went. Obviously, barring like a catastrophic injury. So I've been trying to think like, all right, what's like worst case scenario for all these new guys coming in? Like, what if we just recruited like 3 Christosandicos, a Wesley Cardet, like, just absolute floor. But and I'm obviously biased, but I feel like it's hard to find a floor with some of these guys with their, power conference experience. You basically just got a guy from every power conference in the country.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Eduardo, what do you think? Like, we're not doing a full preview here, but what do you think is best case scenario for this team? What do you think is worst case scenario for this team?
Well, I think going in every year, best case scenario is obviously the win and all, but sometimes that's not the case. I think Sweet 16 would be an excellent year for them. I mean, you never know. Like what Max said last year, we all hyped up every transfer coming in, and they just did not meet expectations. So I'm trying to not hype up as much this year. I know it seems like it's going to be a little bit better of a transfer class, but I think 500 maybe is probably the floor. But Sweet 16 is probably the ceiling if you're looking for that answer. But
yeah, I think that's fair. I think like the worst case scenario with this team would be like if you have a key injury, then maybe you have like someone who kind of does that whole like portal sitting out type thing, kind of like what Bryce did, what Jaylin Sellers already did once. Then you have 2 guys out, and then like Oswin is going to have a nice year. He's going to take a nice step. We know that. I could see big years. This is Corey Floyd's last year in college basketball. He's going to want to make it count. He's probably going to have a really nice year. I mean, the guy like is allergic to not scoring the basketball, and he just seems like he just wants to just play basketball and just score. Like that's literally all he wants to do is just score. Worst case scenario for this team is probably something along those lines. Like you have a couple injuries and maybe some of the transfers don't work out, and then you maybe just below. Then Kim's gone, right? And you're kind of starting from scratch next year. Best case scenario though is if everyone kind of clicks and is as good as I think they can. Yeah, I think like Sweet 16 is very reasonable, right? And I think competing for that third spot in the Big East, I like their ceiling. But the third spot is very good. Like St. John's and UConn, I think, are kind of in a class of their own. But if you're, banging with Creighton and whoever else, I think it's an incredibly successful season. I think it's very possible for this team.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You mentioned the the possibility of someone basically saying, all right, well, I'm injured. Maybe I'll just sit it out the rest of the year, which we saw probably more than one instance of that on last year's team. I would almost argue having so many seniors is another hidden advantage in the sense that you don't make yourself vulnerable to a situation like that. Like if you have 5 of your rotational guys who are about to play their last year of college basketball, there's no, oh, I'll just sit it out and, maybe try and get a waiver, but like there's like a 5% chance that a redshirt senior, fifth-year senior is like, okay, well, I'm hurt. Let me just try and play next year. I would almost argue that's an extra advantage to having an older team.
Definitely. And I mean, this was something I said last year. It seemed like Jabri, West Cardette, I think that, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think their master plan was, to get that next year of eligibility. Do you think that is what happened with them, trying to do that from the start? Do that.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I was and am a fan of Jabri Abdur-Rahim, you've mentioned no one saw the injury. He lit it up in the St. John's game, and maybe there was potentially I'm not making him out to be the villain. This is apples to oranges compared to the Bryce Hopkins situation, but yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to say like, all right, let's chalk it up, try and get a waiver. I mean, the guy's playing in the summer league right now, so like he's obviously reached the next step in his career. You know what I mean? It was kind of low risk, high reward in that sense to get an extra year. West Cardette, honestly, I'm just happy West Cardette's never putting on that uniform again.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very frustrating player. Had a lot of talent, just couldn't put it all together.
In other news, we got a couple topics. Off-season stuff. We're looking for talking points. Eduardo, you mentioned the TBTs going on. Couple Friars playing for teams not located in Rhode Island. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, Providence. We need to find a way to get Providence a team next year. We have to. We gotta do something.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Seeing Providence guys play for, like, AJ Reeves is playing for Valpo's TBT team. Like, how is that even possible? Like, he needs to be in a Friar uniform.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I had one of my buddies sent me a message today, basically saying which former Friars are on TBT teams. Al Durham's playing for an Indiana team, which I guess makes sense. He spent most of his college career there. Bensley Joseph's playing for Boston vs. Cancer. Nate Watson's playing for a team. Eberly and Drive, I'm actually not sure what affiliation that team is. Maliek White's playing for Love, Virginia. AJ Reeves, obviously Eduardo mentioned, is playing for a Valparaiso team, which it doesn't make sense to me. The fans have talked about it over and over again. I'm not sure what is required to put together a TBT team. But I'm, I know I can speak for you two guys. Like whatever's necessary to bring that to the table, I feel like we'd be more than willing to help. I'm sure it'd be a good thing for the program. You have former players coming in, like, yeah, use our facilities when we're not using them. Like you have former players all around the facilities during the off season. There's so many benefits to it. I'm not sure what is necessary, but I am more than willing to help in the 1% capacity that I'm able to. Like that, we need a Friars TBT team, because even like I didn't even know that was a Valparaiso team that AJ Reeves is playing for. Valparaiso has a TBT team.
Yeah.
And Providence College does not. You know what I mean? Like there's so many Friars that are still playing, like not necessarily in the NBA, but like have gone on to play pro careers elsewhere and can still hoop, like late 20s, early 30s. Unk still got it. Like it would be a competitive team. It would be a competitive team. And
totally
I think,
agree.
yeah, it's necessary.
It's a shame with how much like power the PCBC has, with how much difference that we make on Twitter, whatever it is, how dedicated our fans are, that, yeah, we just don't have something like this. And it's just unfortunate. I don't know who's whose kind of fault it is. You know, I don't know if you can put the blame on necessarily anyone. Not like it really matters, anyways. But we definitely need to be involved. Not to be. I mean, there's money. There's players that are willing. There's, we have the marketing power that PC basketball has with their online presence and online fan base is massive. I mean, there's like 6 Friar podcasts alone. I mean, like we can definitely do this, and I know it's very reasonable for next year. I was talking to someone. There were some rumors about like trying to start something, but I guess it never materialized. So yeah, it's got to happen. 100%, totally agree. Valpo having a team and PC not is awful.
No offense to Valpo.
Right? Yeah. Is Fazekas on the Valpo team by chance with AJ Reeves? That'd be pretty cool. I would actually kind of watch that.
Let me do some Google searching right now.
But like, I don't know if it's just me or I feel like there's talks like every year, and then it just like slowly dies away about starting a TBT team.
Yeah. No, I think it's accurate. I think that happens I think that happened last year. That happened this year. I mean, last year was the first year I heard of it. I don't know if like, is it like new within the last 3 years? Because I don't remember hearing about it.
It's a few years old. It's not. I think it's like 5 or 6 years old.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I didn't know about it like prior to last summer. When there were rumors trying to get one, and I may have seen something, but I just never really paid attention.
Can we take a full time out here? I'm pulling up the Valpo TBT roster. AJ Reeves is on the team, obviously. Fazekas is not. Do you know who is on the team though? Is Young Mantis.
Is it PC player?
No. Are you familiar with Young Mantis?
Young Mantis? No.
He's like an old Barstool guy. He's
not
to body shame. Not to body shame. He's built a little funny.
Mantis is on that team?
Yep.
All right. Well, this is kind of like a joke.
Yeah, this might just be like the meme team.
How did AJ Reeves get on the meme?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but AJ Reeves has also zero affiliation with Valparaiso, correct?
100% zero. Grew up in Massachusetts and played for PC his whole career.
Yeah. So there's no excuse. I'm sorry. Nate Watson, Al Durham, Maliek White, AJ Reeves. I'm missing another one. You have almost a starting 5 right there. And you haven't even you have almost a starting 5.
Yeah, dude, and that's the thing. Like, there's other guys that I'm sure would be willing to play. For one, you got, I mean, Ryan Gomes is the general manager of the team. Like, I feel like this could fall under his responsibilities and maybe like trying to recruit some guys to this team, or even playing. I don't fucking care if you got a starting 5. Give me fucking Lumpy Dumper off the bench. Like, who cares? Just give me a 5 and put whoever out there. Like, Eduardo's a pretty good hooper. Put him out there, fucking 7th man.
Listen, Eduardo's a tall guy. He could give you some minutes at the 2.
Yeah.
Last season, we were talking about me getting minutes at the backup 5 position. So,
good point.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think anyone could have got those 5 minutes.
But yeah,
they were up for grabs.
But there's just a slew of Friars that have moved on from the program in the last 5 or 6 years that are obviously high quality basketball players and are not playing in the NBA. So there's a roster to be. I would argue it's harder to field a team for Duke or UNC than it is for a Providence.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Just because your core program guys are all in the NBA.
Yeah, they're busy. Yeah, we got guys that aren't busy. Like we got a lot of, and then, not only that, but like it's such a like cult. So like a family, like a brotherhood. Like it people care. Like you play here, you're like your life. Like there's no way most of the guys would want to like not play. I mean, I think it would really be awesome. Let's send out a tweet from the Divine Providence. What do we need to do, to get a TBT team? And let's just make it like a team effort. I know, like I said, if it's just a couple guys that we're working on and not getting it done, like let's and I mean try to make it like it's like a PCBC effort type. Gotta have some way to get it done.
I don't know if we've ever, staked our reputations with a guarantee on this show. But I will stamp a 100% guarantee right now that I will pay for all of the team's uniforms if it has something to do with fuck Ed Cooley. Straight up.
Well, I mean,
like the Cooley clown face or something on the uniforms, gold. That'd be gold. Because some of these teams, they do have fun with their names. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not going to happen, but if it does, that 1% chance, I'll pay for the uniform.
Let's get a Divine Providence fucking TBT team. I think that'd be big.
I like that. Eduardo's got to be starting though.
They could sub me out in like 2 seconds. It's fine. I'll send the bench first row and watch.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be sick, man. We got to try to get it done. I think we got enough pull.
UConn got a team this year too.
Yeah, they've had one. I think they had one last year because Mark D'Amelio was like pretty involved.
Yeah, Mark runs it.
Tweeting him.
You might have to reach out to our buddy Mark.
I'll ask him like, hey, what do we got to do here? Besides, I know he has fucking wads of cash, but like, if it's a team effort, I would put up PC alum with Mark D'Amelio any day. So.
I feel like there's a rich PC alum that's been fairly relevant lately that might be willing to help out.
That's a good idea. We should be like, we'll sweep this under the rug.
Crowdfund at Coldplay concerts.
Yeah, we'll sweep the Andy Byron affair under the rug if the TBT team.
Yeah. We'll get the rest of the internet distracted while Andy Byron funds the PC TBT team.
I think he'd be in. I mean, dude, the dude's like worth $40 million. It's crazy.
So, listen, we're just spitballing ideas here, but you're telling me there's a 1% chance. Andy Byron, if you're listening, we got you, brother.
Which I'm sure you are.
Naturally.
Who's not listening is John Rothstein. Now,
correct.
Listen, I got a little hate for my take about John Rothstein, but I want people to understand that it's not some massive conspiracy. Like it isn't like some like I got called like a groiper for this. It's not like this Jewish conspiracy. I don't know where anyone was getting that. It's just that like he clearly doesn't like Kim, and I'm not even saying. People also misunderstood what I was saying with saying like, oh well, we don't get into your anything. That's not what I'm saying. Like my point is he doesn't like. I'm not saying that he should be like fawning over our team or fawning over as a coach, but bottom line is this roster is a top 45 roster. Georgetown, like, all right, this is a great example. He had Georgetown. He had Georgetown at like 41 with Duncan Powell and Thomas Sorber in there. They lost Powell and they lost Sorber, and he has them at 43. Like, that's fucking insane. That's just like he's just keeping them in there, right? And it's like I might sound like I'm a bitter like PC fan, just like, oh, like fuck Georgetown. Like I really don't care. It's a ranking. But if you're going to try to portray yourself as a credible basketball journalist, I don't want to hear that Rothstein is a content creator. The dude is on the court, in-game analyst. It's just frustrating, right? And that's just one of many examples of his hate toward Kim English. I don't think he necessarily hates PC basketball. I think he hates Kim. And I think that's, I think a lot of people would agree with that. I got called a groiper, which I had 2 weeks ago. Okay, 2 weeks ago, I would have had to look up what that was. Okay, I knew what he was talking about, but I was absolutely stunned because I said noticing. I've been saying no for my whole life. I didn't know that was a thing. I got called a groiper because of fucking John Rothstein. I'm not, this isn't a political show, but insane by a very respected member of college basketball Twitter who has a podcast where he has actual college basketball coaches on it saying that I'm a groiper. I said noticing. That's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. That whole thing is honestly out of my realm of expertise. However, that I think it's obvious that there's I don't know if it's like a small market prejudice, because obviously in the grand scheme of things, Providence is a small market. But the argument you made, if Ed Cooley had Kim English's roster, this is a top 30 team on paper in the country.
Definitely. And I know, people think it was like a right versus left thing. No, it wasn't. I'm not saying that Kim is like this leftist, that's why he's hated. He has made some comments about some of the things with Palestine, right? So when I say political, that doesn't mean left versus right. There's other political issues, So, like I said, I don't know what it is necessarily. I do that. There was an old tweet from when he was at George Mason, where Kim was like, I don't care about John Rothstein's basketball opinion. I don't know if that was maybe had something to do with it, but John Rothstein is not like Kim English. Whatever. It's okay. I'm going to sleep over it, but that's just a fact. Anyways, I had to bring that up.
No, I totally agree. And I 95% of the time, I try to be as unbiased as possible. I try to remove bias from any situation. But, your Georgetown point does make a lot. Obviously, we're biased. We're going to be biased for the rest of our lives against any team that Ed Cooley coaches. Whether he gets canned this year or he's at Georgetown for the next 15. Trying to be as unbiased as possible. I don't see a world where you go basically 500 in the Big East, lose your two best players to the draft, regardless of transfers. I just don't see a world where you're like, oh yeah, that team got better. They missed the tournament, lost their two best players, and now it's just okay, surefire. This team is improving. Obviously, solid transfer class, not for nothing, but just to chalk this team in as a surefire top 40 team in the country who hasn't proved a thing since Cooley's gotten there. It's just insane to me. And I feel like when I say this, I don't mean like who you voted for president, but college basketball is a lot of politics in the sense of Cooley is a politician. You got to kiss ass, and your program gets a little bump in the who's best on paper argument.
Definitely, and really that's all I was calling out. I think also Kim English doesn't have Rothstein yet. That's just something to keep in mind. But all that aside, you're right. We're always going to be viewed as, oh, they just hate Georgetown, right? They just don't want to see Georgetown. They don't like Ed Cooley. And yeah, that's totally correct. If Ed Cooley is coaching underrates rec team, I'm going to fucking hate that team. I'm probably going to tweet nasty shit about it. Cooley forever. But this is not one of those times where I feel biased. It is one of those times where I feel this is just a very blatant, example of bias on Rothstein's side. So, it is what it is. Whatever. All I know is Jason Edwards, 17 points per game in the SEC. Jalen Sellers, 16 points per game in the Big 12. Duncan Powell, almost 13 points per game in the ACC. Oswin really going to take a step forward. Was great last year at the end. Corey Floyd was great last year at the end. This is a good team. Bottom line, that if this team is going to be bad, it probably means something bad happened. So, and the whole Kim is coach thing. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he's experienced. I don't think he's the best coach in the world. I think he's a bad coach, and I think he can get a lot out of this team. And we'll see how it shakes out.
Well said. Another side note, because you had mentioned Jason Edwards averaging 17, 18 in the SEC. For some reason ended up in a little tweet chain with Grok earlier today, and Grok predicted that Jason Edwards will lead the Big East in scoring this year.
Yeah,
just wanted to throw one out there.
And that Grok is just a very analytics guy, right? He's AI, and when you look at the math, Jason Edwards in the SEC averaging 17 points per game on 25 minutes per game, right? People have to remember that. That's a really, really big number. 17 in 25. The guy can score. He's going to score a ton of points. That's just a fact. He can score. What his role will be, whether he's playing 30, 35, 25, 26, 27, who knows? We don't even need him to score 17 points per game. He literally has Jalen Sellers, who, is going to make him a lot better. That backcourt is going to be good, man. Backcourt's going to be really good.
I will say, Rothstein, the one thing he did harp on that wasn't a copy and paste AI unoriginal thought was the perimeter. As far as that is one thing that Kim addressed in the portal big time, was that this team's the backcourt, the wings look a lot better on paper than last year. I know obviously a lot more proven pieces like we talked about.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyone got anything else?
Not from me, Eduardo. You got anything? I know we didn't, definitely want to hear your thoughts on this backcourt.
Well, first off, I could care less what John Rothstein says, but I do agree with his take. I do think it's a much better backcourt than last year. So,
yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting.
I feel like we got to another thing. I do have one more thing. I feel like we got to push the Scorelord nickname a little more. The Jason Edwards Scorelord.
Okay. We can do that.
Cool ass nickname. But it's got to stick for it to be, a nickname.
Yeah. All right. We can push it. I'm in.
Perfect.
You have the outing coming up a week from Sunday, so that's really exciting stuff. The outing is a great event. So if anyone's listening, hope to see you there. I will be there. Mac will be there. Edward, are you playing in it?
No, I won't be there.
Okay.
But if anyone needs a fourth, let me know.
My team may or may not need a fourth. So
I'm in.
Knew what happened.
May or may not. Just
all right. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we might run into a roadblock between now and next Sunday, but if that happens, Eduardo, we'll be in touch.
All right. Well, nonetheless, this was a really good time. If anyone's got anything else, speak now.
Speak now or forever hold your peace. I got nothing. I'm fired up. I want it to be November terribly right now, and that's really all I got. But I'm sure I'm not alone in that.
Yeah. October. What? dude, once October hits and you got, playoff baseball, you got PC starting up really soon, it's gonna feel really good. Really good, fall into place. So yeah, really, really excited about it. And yeah, so we'll be in touch. Obviously, if there's anything else we got, talk about it. If there's any moves, any guys quit, any guys, join, we'll hop on. So
For sure.